What's up, you guys? What's
What's
up?
up?
You're welcome back to our channel here at Self Love is the Key Wellness. I am your boy, Jamel Brownridge, aka Coach J. And to my right, we have.
My name is Cambria Caldwell, licensed marriage and family therapist, to also go by the name of Cam the Queen online.
Period. And today we're going to talk about manipulation in the dating world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What comes to mind to you when we start to think about manipulation? Manipulation tactics.
Firstly, I want to say that this comes from a bit of our last episode that we had because we were talking about narcissism and some of the tactics that they tend to use. But when you really think about it, there are tons of things that people do that are not narcissists, but they just do these things in a dating world. It's a jungle out there, and it's good to give a name to some of these things to help you to not feel like you're not sure what's happening or like something's wrong with you. Mm-hmm. So we put together a few different ones that we want to go through with you all. And our hope is that if this has happened to you or if you have questions about it, you can reach out to us. You can DM us, message us, schedule one-on-ones. We can go through these things in even more depth with you to help you feel like you're more equipped to deal with the dating world. Okay. So the first tactic I want to go over is trauma bonding, right? Now, this one may be something that you've heard of before, or maybe you haven't heard of it before. But let's give it, a real definition, right? Trauma bond is when a person forms a deep emotional attachment with someone that actually causes them harm. So it can often develop to a repeated cycle of abuse that's followed up by positive reinforcement or reward. When that occurs, it's titled a trauma bonded relationship. That's what's actually called. So think about a person that love bombs you, right? So I'm using another term, but that's someone who showers you with gifts, or it could be just compliments. It could just be attention. It could be someone who talks to you frequently throughout the day, makes you feel special, right? And then that same person can then become very mean spirited towards you, talk down to you, ignore you, neglect you, put their hands on you, call you out your name, disrespect you in some way, right? But it seems so different than the first person that they showed you that you're confused and don't know what to do when it happens. And so then they start to become nice to you again, and you feel relieved and you're happy and you want to stay with them. And then as soon as you think that things are okay again, they go back into another pattern of abusive behavior, and on it goes. And now you're in an abusive cycle. But it's called trauma bond because, as I said last week, that same person that brings you pain ends up being the only person that you want to ease your pain. And on it goes. Right. So that's the trauma bond. Another tactic that we want to talk about is breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is used a lot in trauma bonding. So that happens when someone is, for example, leading somebody on romantically, maybe using, doing this online, DMing them a lot on social media, or liking all their pictures, liking all their stories, texting them a lot. And then when you get used to that and you start to reciprocate that and show them that you have interest in them as well, they may pull back and stop looking at your stories. They may stop texting you so much. It may take longer to answer the phone or don't answer the phone at all. And then you start to give up and say, okay, well, this person doesn't like me anymore, I guess. And it's almost like they can sense it. And then they start texting you again, liking your photos again, watching your posts again, reaching out again, calling you every day, love bombing you, FaceTiming you.
Once again, the cycle continues.
And you get hooked on them again. And then the minute you feel like things are okay, they distance themselves. They start to give you less and less attention or none at all. And it's like a cycle. So that's the breadcrumbing. But the person who's doing this, their intent is different. They're doing this because they like the attention they get from it, but they may not really actually be interested in you. They just like the supply you're giving them, which is like this admiration that you may have for them. And that's all they want, just the clout or the attention, but not an actual relationship or other meaningful type of bonds with you.
Another tactic is DARVO, and DARVO stands for deny, which is like denying whatever behavior you accuse them of. Attack you to make you feel bad for something that they did to you. Reverse the roles so that they are the victim and you are the abuser. Victim, they will play the victim to you or other people in order to gain sympathy or control of the narrative. Offender, they make you the offender who needs to apologize or to submit to their wants and needs. So that's what DARVO stands for. So DARVO, DARVO. Right. Deny, reverse, victim. I'm sorry, deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender.
Yes. So we were talking a little bit earlier about an example of what DARVO could look like. And you know what's so funny? When, as you were saying it, a movie came to my mind. You know, I'm a little older than some people, but a movie came to my mind.
We're like in the same age group.
Remember this movie? Remember this movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate? That Martin movie. That is my movie. Okay. So that's a good movie that describes a lot of these tactics that were happening.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Martin meets this girl.
Yes.
He meets this dream girl. I think he likes the idea of her, but doesn't really actually want to be with her. But he sees her as a conquest, like a challenge. Right? He wants to get her attention, have sex with her, get all these things from her, right? And so he love bombs her, gives her all this attention, right? They go on all these dates. He even says the word "I love you" to this girl, even though he doesn't really love her. But then someone else comes around that he actually has true affection for, and he loses interest because he wants to spend time with the girl that he really wants to be with. And then he starts to breadcrumb. He starts to slowly distance himself from that woman, right? But instead of just telling her he doesn't want to be with her anymore, he promises her things. He says, "Oh, I'm going to be there for your birthday," for example, right? But then he stands her up, and she's left there by herself with the cake, and she stabs the cake with the knife.
Yes, she sure does.
Right? She stabs it, and at that point, she's upset. She's reacting to what he did to her, right? But she looks like a crazy one. But it does get worse. It does. So she ends up doing something to him to make herself look like the victim, and he the offender, right? So later on, there's a scene where she fakes an injury, right? She did it to herself. But she got the police and everyone in the hospital to believe that he did. He just came to visit her, and she said, "Oh my gosh, don't hurt him. He didn't mean to do it." And so
that's the perfect movie.
Her saying that made her the victim and him the offender, even though he did nothing to her.
That's the perfect movie. That movie alone is the perfect movie to actually explain.
It is a great case study. It's a great case study on all the manipulation tactics of narcissists. But I believe that they both were narcissists in that movie.
Yes, of course.
And that's why it got so bad, because both of them were playing games on each other. And it just got higher and higher and higher in levels.
And then the other lady came along, and then he started to really have feelings for her. So then it was like, I don't really want to deal with her anymore.
Yes. You know? Yes. Put it to the side. He discarded her.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That happens all the time.
No, it really does.
Yes.
Another tactic is reactive abuse.
Yes.
Reactive abuse is very similar to DARVO.
Right.
This happens when a person purposely does things to get a reaction or a strong response so that you will be viewed as the abuser, the manipulator, or bad person, when it's actually that person who is abusing or manipulating you.
Right.
So, to the example that you said about the movie A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, that is exactly what reactive abuse is.
Yes. Yes.
That the whole movie really shows you reactive abuse. Everything that she was doing was like basically in reaction to what he was doing,
Yes, and
vice versa.
It just got worse and worse and worse. And what could have been an opportunity for them both to have a sit down and have a painful conversation, it would have been less harmful than what they end up doing to each other. Instead of sitting down and saying, let's have a talk. I know this is hurtful, but I'm really not interested in you anymore.
Communication is key. Like, like you have to communicate with the other person to just let them know, like, hey, I need to, let you know I'm not feeling you like that anymore. I don't want to, move forward, or anything like that. I think that that's where that really does come into. And I think that, like, with you communicating that, now it gives that other person like a little bit more insight to where, like, now they can have that time to deal with their feelings of, letting them go or still trying to pursue you. Even though you told them that you're not interested, they can still try to pursue you until they get to that point of like, okay, I see that you're not really interested in me.
Right. I hear you saying that it is more respectful or mature to give the person closure.
Yes.
Rather than leaving them hanging or guessing.
Yes.
Because you're just creating distance or playing games with them, ghosting or breadcrumbing them. Right? But see, people do that because they want to leave a window of opportunity open for themselves. It's actually very selfish to breadcrumb someone.
It's easier because they feel like, oh, if this doesn't work out with such and such,
then I have this as a backup. I have this backup plan.
And it's not fair to yourself, and it's not fair to the two people that you are dealing with.
Right.
So yeah, I do. Yeah.
All
of us have been through these situations, and we want you to know that, like, there are more healthy ways to deal with these things. Like, for example, if you're angry with someone, instead of picking an argument with them in public, wait to speak to them. Like, pull them to the side, talk to them in private. You can express yourself clearly and maturely. Also, direct communication is better than being like passive or ghosting or creating distance, because it's like it just causes pain in the long run for not only yourself but for the other person especially.
Right. So when you say that, I think about, like, people often say, right, well, it's just easy to just ghost a person. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them an explanation. Why should I have to tell them that I don't like them anymore? They should just get the hint when I stop texting or if I don't call as much. They should just get it.
Right.
My response to that is, none of us want to have skeletons in the closet. Right? So let's say something happens in your life, something great happens. Let's say you get famous, you go viral, you're out at a public event. You don't have to be, a celebrity, but let's say you're doing something and then all of a sudden somebody comes up to you from your past that you did wrong, who knows how many months, days, years ago, and then they embarrass you because you hurt them a long time ago instead of just telling them you didn't want to be with them anymore. That's an example of how it can come back to bite you when you weren't able to just give that person that discussion that they deserved, right? But at the same time, if that person doesn't give you that closure, it doesn't mean you can't give yourself that closure and move on with your life and just recognize that person was just being a selfish person. Immature, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I also want to talk about another tactic that can be used if you've come across a person that you know is manipulating you. You know that they're lying to you, but maybe you don't want to make a scene or make things worse, but you want to be able to figure out a way to get them away from you, get them to stop manipulating you over and over again. So it's called the gray rock method. Okay? Gray rock method. So this is when you deliberately act unresponsive or unengaged so the abusive person will lose interest in you. People who are abusive or toxic, they thrive on drama. They thrive on emotions. They get a rise out of you becoming that angry, thin line between love and hate person. Because some people think that gives them clout, that gives them relevancy in this world. But when you act indifferent to them and you don't show emotion, they'll lose interest and stop bothering you because you're not giving them the supply that they wanted. So it's like you're starving them out from that.
It makes them uninterested.
Right. They see they can't play with you anymore. So if they breadcrumb you and they ghost you and they decide to come back and text you again, if you decide to let the ghost stay dead, then guess what? The ghost will stay dead.
We have to also show accountability for a lot of things too,
Yeah.
I think that as long as, we are setting great boundaries,
Yes, yeah.
and moving forward with whatever boundary that is set, I think that it will also help with that process as well.
Yes.
So make sure you're setting those boundaries and make sure that you are following through on those boundaries as well.
And that's why we talked about in the last episode, tell people what's going on with you. Tell people that you're not okay, because they can help you hold yourself accountable, right? How many times have I had that discussion with somebody and they say, well, I want to go back to this person. I know he wasn't good for me, but I brought it up to my friend and she said, you talking about that same one who did this to you and did that to you and did that to you? And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that because I was romanticizing that person. And, thankfully I told someone about all the things they actually put me through because they can remind me when I'm feeling weak and about to let my boundaries go down. They kind of like knock me back into reality so I don't make the same mistake again.
Yes.
Right. That's why it's important to have a network and a support system of people who know the truth about you and what's happening with you. It's not safe to keep secrets.
Tell someone.
Yeah.
Tell someone. Your best friend, your cousin, your sister, your brother, whomever. Your therapist, your life coach, someone.
A trusted person, someone who has your best interest at heart, and they're not going to just be a yes man and tell you what you want to hear. That's not a real friend. A real friend will be able to correct you with love.
And tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah.
So that will conclude our topic for today.
Yes.
If you do have any questions or you want to know more information about anything, please feel free to DM us, message us, text us, call us, whatever way that you may want to get in contact with us. Please make sure you do so. You can always leave a comment as well. Make sure you do like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the little belly thing or something so you get the updates about us posting new videos.
Yes.
And go ahead and give us a follow if you're not already following us at Get Well Wit Mail. That's WIT Mail. And
Self-love is the key wellness.
And we shall see you guys next time.
All right.
Stay well.
Bye.
Bye.